Guru Kripa Kevalam. Namaste and welcome everyone to Satsang today. Sadguru Sri Muji Baba ki Jai. Okay, so before we jump into the question and answers, I wanted to check in with everyone today in terms of uh, there are two aspects in which we can look at things. One is the recognition itself. Am I able to recognize what I truly am? Who am I? That is the main question on this so-called journey, isn't it? And plenty of pointers, plenty of techniques, you may even call them practices, have been provided as tips here to come to this self-recognition. The second aspect is in terms of conditioning, resistance, managing all of that, and to remain open and empty of these conditions which cause us suffering, which cause identification again as the individual entity, you see, the non-existent individual entity, I might add. So, so I wanted to look at the first aspect, you see, and just check in with all of you in terms of this recognition. It is clear to you when I say non-perceptual, non-conceptual, direct insight of yourself as awareness. How many of you feel like it is apparent? One second. Again, no peer pressure, there's no spreadsheet, I'm not measuring, just to have a sense of whether it's being seen. Okay, good, good, okay. So most of you have your hands up, which is good. Okay. So just just to clarify, because I never tire of making this point, if you're unconcerned with what perceptions they may be, and you are not concerned with any sort of conceptual knowledge. You see, whatever knowledge is available through perception and whatever knowledge is available through concepts, you are not concerned about either of these. And you are especially not concerned with any spiritual desire, like, am I getting it? Am I staying like this? You see? Can I remain in this? None of that. All these spiritual desires are also kept aside. uh, the truth of what I'm pointing to, the truth of what you are, is apparent to you. But if it feels like it is still not apparent, then you can ask yourself a question like, am I aware now? You see? And the answer will be in the affirmative. And you will look at the source of that knowledge, and you will find that it is not a perception, and it is not something you learned, it is not conceptual knowledge. You see? You find that it is just pristine intuitive insight. You see? You cannot see this awareness. You cannot sense it in any sensory way. You see? So you can discard everything that you see, and even if you've labeled some dark, empty space as awareness in the past, you can throw away that idea. You see? Because you cannot perceive it in any way. You see? And if you're just relying on some idea you have of the self or of awareness, you can keep that also away, and you will notice that you can still confirm that you are aware. You see? And this is the only confirmation you can make in this way. For everything else, you need either a concept or a perception. You see? But that you are aware now is independent of these. So, in that way, it is a pristine discovery. And if you're not mindy about it, and if you're not grasping at something, there is no way that you can miss it. You see? There is no way that you can miss it. You see? In fact, it is clear to you. You see? Maybe if it feels like it is not clear, you may have an expectation of what it should be like, and it is important to for that to be thrown away in the bucket of spiritual desires, in the bowl of spiritual desires. Just discard that expectation, mhm, of what that discovery should look like. You see. So, can we go along together? Because this is the most important thing I want to say today. So, all perceptions kept aside, you see, kept aside. Whatever knowledge is coming to us through perceptions, for a few moments we will keep it aside. You see. And everything that we know through concept, through mind, through intellect, we keep that aside as well. Especially the spiritual desire, expectation. We just we don't try to repress it, we don't try to push it away, we let it come and go. Just keep it aside. Don't be concerned with it. Now, what remains? Are you aware now? Very good. Is there any distinction between you and this awareness? Is there a you being aware? Is there somewhere where you are, but awareness is not, or awareness is, but you are not? For that matter, is there even aware here? Is there any space or time for you really? Remember, you are not getting into any sort of state. It is not a state. It is completely effortless. Some of you, I notice, try to, fixate your eyes on something or just, you know, none of that is needed. Just relax. There's nothing to be done. Effortlessly, you are aware of yourself. Everything is allowed to come and go. You just don't take it to mean something in for some time. Don't take it to mean anything at all. Neither meaningful nor meaningless. We just keep all that aside. You see. That space, and I use that term loosely, where you are aware, is your natural resting ground. You don't have to go there, isn't it? Therefore, it is completely effortless. Now, if you did not want anything out of this as a me, as a personal idea about yourself, then it's game over. Then it's game over. But because these conditions, and especially a lot of conditions could have come because of the spiritual marketing also about somebody getting enlightened and somebody living in constant bliss or some silly ideas like that. We use these benchmarks, you see, to make even this pristine non experience, this pristine non experience, we want to include that in our personal narrative, you see, to make it sound meaningful, to make it sound meaningful in our story. But there is no way that the one that has the narrative and the one that you really are can actually meet. So if you go back to the narrative, you go back to the mask of ego. But if you leave yourself unlabeled in your notionless existence, it is the end of this game. You see? Now, one said in the chat that this recognition, it comes and goes. You see? Now, this is worth evaluating. Does it come and go? Or is it just like a layer of ignorance gets believed in, which seems to make the recognition go? But actually, it never goes. Even to believe that I am a person, I am a body mind. You see? First, there has to be the I am. And even for there to be an I am, there has to be the I, which is amming. You see? The I, which is being, is the fundamental basis of even the lies. Even the ignorance is built on top of the truth. So when the ignorance is cleaned up, the truth just seems to remain. But it is not that the truth goes away somewhere. You see? So so it seems as if it comes and goes, but what happens is that on top of your reality about yourself, you build on a misconception that I am something. That's why Bhagavan said, till I am no trouble, no suffering, nothing. But the instant that you believe I am something, that's the doorway to all the, I'm paraphrasing, that is the doorway to all the trouble. You see? So the notion of something is attached to reality. You see? The substratum of even ignorance is the truth. Otherwise, the sages would not have told us the truth does not come and go. Only the false can come and go. You see? So when you say, I am angry, you see, I am upset, I am frustrated, or I am joyful, happy, whatever, you see, are you ever talking about somebody else? You see? You're referring back to the same, you see, as the substratum of what you are. You see, your ideas about yourself have changed. You see, every day maybe, at least every year you can confirm. You see, but you have always felt like you've been referring to the same one. You see, so that persistent reality is something that you are actually clear about in your heart. But on top of which, we build these stories in our minds. You see, now time is one of the fundamental building blocks of that story. Mhm. Now, as you are recognizing yourself to be what you are, tell me if there is any time for you. And I'm well aware that you know what is the right answer. But try to keep that aside and really check. All the sages, Bhagwan has said, time and space are just notion. So all of you know the right answer. But see if it's really true for you. Okay. And I don't want to take too long because that's when you start thinking about it. So, so it's not true for you. So it cannot be that something goes and comes and goes. because in your reality, there is no time. So, for something to come and go, you need to be something contained in time and space. You see, and all perceptions only are contained in time and space. All objects are only contained in time and space. You see, only objects have length, breadth, height, duration. You see, if you're not an object, can you have length, breadth, height, duration? So all these dimensions don't apply. But I'm not trying to get you to infer all of this. All of these are just pointers to clear up the doubt so that you can allow yourself to come to this pristine recognition. You see? Now, for those who feel like it's still elusive, the recognition, I want to hear in one way or the other, maybe you can type in the chat or you can raise your hand. What is it that you're expecting to see? Yes, yes. Like, how do you know that you haven't got it? Correct. Hmm. Hmm. No. So are we still on the same point, which is that how do you know that you've not even not recognized it? Yeah. Without the content of the three bowls, what remains in the fourth one? Yes, yes. A pure knowingness or whatever awareness. You see. So, so that is clear, no? Okay, so that's the point I'm at the moment. That conditioning management, resistance management will come to later in a moment. We'll just come there. Right now, I'm just trying to zero in on this idea that I have not recognized even for a moment what my true self is. So can we just deal with that idea first? And then we'll see what happens later in a moment. You see? So it is clear, no? You've seen it often enough that you are that which is beyond seeing, beyond all perception. So just from those who feel like they've not had even a moment of recognition, um, what is it? What are they expecting to see? Yes, but all of these things which you're saying in the chat, for a while you can just type it in the chat so I can read it easier. Is later, no? Is later. Oh, expectations come back, or um, heightened awareness of person in the body, but not in that. My clicker is not firing today. Okay? So in that, before you can hear the sound, okay, none of this is there, but you are still there. I don't want to give you all of this because then you will start to interpret the click in that way. Okay? Before the sound of the click, what is apparent to you? So expecting to have zero confusion, heightened awareness of something, which actually means a heightened attention on something. We'll come to those specifically in a moment. But who feels like they've not had a moment of this recognition? Maybe you can, I'd like to speak to you for a moment. Who feels like they've not had this? And it's not to make you feel bad or something, just to look together because I want to help you with that. Anyone who feels like they've not had a moment of recognition? That's very good. That's very good. Is it just because of peer pressure? Am I asking very aggressively? That is not the intent. It's just to it's just to guide you to it. Clear. Okay, very good. So now, what to do now that you had at least a moment of recognition? Actually, it's not a moment, but let's use that term. What to do? Is it? When will I get complete clarity, complete peace of mind, remain in a state of mindlessness, manonasha, in the no mind state, all of that. No? So, so one tool I have for you, is it, which deals with all this condition, with all this resistance, all of it. Just whatever may have happened or not happened, in this moment you remain open and empty. Just remain open and empty. Open means anything can come. Anything can come. Any perception, any thought, anything can come. You see? And empty means nothing is held on to. You see? So anything can come, but we are not grasping, grasping, holding, holding. You may have moments in which you will hold. You see? What to do then? Nothing. In that moment, become open and empty. That's it. No holding on to more thoughts about holding thoughts. Why do I hold thoughts? Why can't I be open and empty? None of that. You see, just you saw it, finished. Now you're open and empty. You see? So right now, let's let's start there. Completely fresh, open and empty. You see? Open and empty. Now, is there something that you just have to believe, just have to take to be true about yourself that you can expose in the chat? I'm looking at the last message. So anything after this will be what you have exposed about this. Just remain open and empty. And if your being is being forced, if a thought comes that strong that it has to be true, that your being is now forced to believe in it, you expose that in the chat. There's what is it, the idea of tomorrow? Somebody said tomorrow. The idea of tomorrow is just an idea. It's just another thought. Can you confirm it is just a thought? No perception has ever said I am Mr. Yesterday and I am Mr. Tomorrow. Has any perception ever said? What if that which we call tomorrow is actually when we are revisiting our memories, and that which we call a memory is actually the future? How do we really know? Anyway, don't think about that stuff. This is so fun. This is the fun stuff. Okay, so one says, and I want to help with this pressure, tension in the head region pulls my attention. Yes, yes, yes. Let your attention go wherever it has to. It's very common actually when you're having spiritual insights that sometimes you'll have, you see, like that, and attention will get fixated with this, and that's completely fine. You see? It is completely fine. We don't have to try and control our attention at all. Once has the sense of being fully stuck, there is no way out. But this is not a sense, you see, it's an idea. You see? Now, where are you? Isha, you come up. And I will call, don't worry, Kim and Beatrice, I'll also call you, don't worry. I'm going to call on Isha because this is alive at this moment. Where is she? Can you put up your hand, my dear, and then we can look at this. Because there are many times I hear these reports. No? We want to look at some of this together so that we can clearly look. Ah, there you are. Hello. It's been a long time. Of course, just after saying there's no time. I can't hear you so well, Nadine, or not at all.
And now is it?
Yes, yes, yes.
Is it okay?
Yeah.
Namaste.
Namaste, my dear. You good?
Thank you. I'm okay.
Good, good. So we're just looking at this together. So let's start fresh. Fresh, fresh. Everything is gone. Nothing can stay. Now, tell me, give me the running commentary on what's happening.
I have to think.
So, so you don't think let thoughts come and go if they have to. You see?
Hmm.
So without you thinking, does that report still apply? This idea of being stuck or not stuck
No, no, no. I
doesn't
have,
apply.
no, no. It doesn't. I have to think.
You don't have to. You may want to, and I'm suggesting you don't.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, absolutely
And by
correct.
the way, I have to specify once more that thoughts arising is not what we call thinking. You see, taking the thoughts to be valid representatives of the truth, that this is what it really is what we call thinking. Thoughts are free to arise as well. Attention can also go to them. Attention can go to anything at all. But to take that representation to be valid about what is, to put what is in that mental compartment is what we call thinking. Okay? So just remain open and empty, fresh, fresh, till there is such a thought which is so compelling that you have to buy that representation.
Anantaji, it
Yes.
what I so coming to this sense of being stuck, it comes from a strong desire to make a change.
Yes.
Uh,
But you're having to think, no, I can see in your eyes.
exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So
Yes.
so you cannot take the false to be true
Mm-hmm.
and hold on to the truth at the same time. If you are going to take the false to be true, then
Mm-hmm.
it will seem as if the false is true. That is the power that consciousness has. You see? Okay, so let's try this experiment. Tell me a thought which is completely true.
A thought that is completely true. The
Yeah.
thought of being stuck feels really true.
Okay, so this is worth examining then. You see,
Mhm.
the thought of being stuck.
Mhm.
Now, who is the central character in that thought who is stuck?
Mm. Yeah.
Can you look around for such
Yeah.
a character
Yeah.
and see? Because body is moving quite well, head is nodding, so
Mhm.
body is not stuck. So
Mhm.
who is the one that is stuck?
I can't find it.
Can't find it. No, that's why I'm saying that these thoughts represent us as something that is not true at all. You
Mhm.
see? So what happens is it may just say, "Oh, but you're so stuck. You're so
Yeah.
stuck," and we buy into that idea. But really, if you were to investigate that idea and say, "Who is stuck?" You see? So inquiry or surrender are the two means to freedom in our way, which means that inquiry means when a thought like this is proposed, we investigate and say, who is it? You see? And if our temperament is not to inquire, then we can say, stuck, not stuck, everything is father's problem, or master's problem, or God's problem, whatever we feel devotional to, then that thought, we don't get stuck in that thought. You see?
Yes.
So this is the antidote to conditioning. The antidote to conditioning is inquiry or surrender. You see? Is the one that is aware now, is that one stuck?
No. Mm, no. No.
You see? It's not stuck. You see? And this body is not stuck. There are no chains around it. You see? So there is an idea of stuckness, which is inventing its own protagonist. It's inventing its own character, you see, and saying, this is what you are, and you are stuck. Mhm. It could also say you have um, 25 unicorns in your garden, you see, and are we going to leave that uninvestigated? You see? Are we just going to believe it because there's a voice which seems to speak authoritatively in our heads? You see?
So
Not.
right now, Anantaji, your words are stronger than
Yes,
this constant. I mean, what your words are stronger
yes,
than this chattering voice.
yes,
I completely feel it.
yes,
And you also mentioned surrender and self-inquiry. So
yes.
surrender feels really good in heart.
All of this, all of this is also thought, no? And who is the central character in this story? Let's call it
The one who is trying to come out
of what? Of being stuck, no?
of being stuck.
But
Yeah,
that one you didn't find.
right. Yes.
So why would you solve a problem
Mhm,
for for someone who doesn't exist?
mhm. That sounds fun.
Actually, it may sound fun, but that is the way to suffer. Can't solve non-existent problems for the non-existent one. So this is the nature of the mind. No? So what you are discovering is beyond all stories, beyond all time, beyond all space. But the mind will try to pull that back into a linear narrative, which will say, okay, now you're talking to Ananta, so things seem okay because his voice is stronger than the voice of the mind. But later, when satsang is over, so it's put you back into that
Yeah.
stream of time and made you back to an object, no?
Mhm.
Made you back into this tiny object, which poor thing has to go in this linear flow of time like an arrow. You have to move like that, you see. But you are not that. You cannot find that one. You see? The mind will keep knocking, and it'll usually the knock sounds like but, but. So to be open and empty is to allow all these proposals from the mind, as friendly as they may seem. The mind's voice now is sounding like, I just want to help you because now later he will not be there, then who will you ask? I'm just trying to help you, madam, just like I'm at your service. It's trying to be a friend and saying, see, right now you're fine, but 1 hour later, satsang is over, then what's going to happen to you? And who's that one in that representation? Who's the you which will suffer from conditions or being stuck? You see, there's nobody like that, and there never is. You see, and this exercise that we're doing now is not just for Isha. Whatever your mind is proposing to you, find out who's the protagonist, who's the central character of that story, and whether that's a valid, real entity. Okay, so let's try again now. Empty, 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 fresh, 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 empty, empty. Now,
There is nothing to report at this moment.
very good, very good. So, belief means that we take an idea to be true. You see, nobody believes an idea saying, oh, this is false, let me pick it up. You see, we take a representation, a version to be true about what is manifesting, and we give it truth value. You see, as consciousness, which is the truth, has the ability to give truth value to notions. So it gives the notion truth value, and it uses that to play in this linear story of being a somebody. You see, then it is done with this game, then it plays the game of giving them up, letting them go, becoming open and empty. You see? So when I speak of spiritual desire, this is in a way we don't recognize it, but in a way it is like this. You see, it'll say, yes, it's fine now, but can I keep this? Can I always be like this? You see? All of this belongs to still the false one, you see, which wants something for itself out of the truth. The truth is not going to serve the false. You see? If we have a false idea about ourselves that I am a mongoose or something, you see, and then we've discovered ourselves to be timeless, spaceless, beyond all creation and dissolution. We found ourselves to be that. What deal does that truth have to make with the mongoose idea? Is there anything like the timeless reality must help the non-existent mongoose?
Could you repeat?
Is there any deal like that? That the timeless reality of what I am, the absolute self, has to help the non-existent mongoose or any funny creature you can think of, because that is what we take ourselves to be. In fact, at least a mongoose we have a clear idea about. We can draw it out, but the ego we can't even draw. You see, some of you may say, but I can draw the body. You see, but the body doesn't want freedom. The body is not stuck. It is not bound. So the one that is stuck, we are not even clear about it. Like we cannot draw. We don't even have a good visual representation of that one.
When they're thinking as a mongoose, and they're not thinking maybe absolute. I mean, they're not.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Then I keep behaving like a mongoose, is what I'm saying.
Correct.
So if I'm absolute, I'm not asking what should happen to the mongoose.
No, what happens is that you come to the discovery of what you are. You see, which is that I am this unperceivable awareness.
Yeah.
You see, pristine discovery, pure self-knowledge. You see, then what do we do? Oh, have I really got it then? What does this mean? Will I start sharing satsang? Where are my disciples? You see, all this kind of thing. No? So, so the one that you discovered, all these are not attributes of that one. So he's still trying to force this unperceivable truth into a narrative of the me, you see, which it will never conform to because it is so beyond any attributes. And you need at least one attribute to include in your story. Good, good, good.
Because if the dream is still going on, you know, like
No.
again, okay. So let's see that discovery, and when the dream carries on, at some moment it doesn't
Okay,
come.
discovery. Okay,
Yeah.
stay in the discovery. Now speak from there. Is there a distinction between dream and reality, manifest and unmanifest, anything and anything, something and nothing?
No.
Am I forcing that answer?
No, no.
No. None of this, all of this. So even the pointers that the world is Maya, it's a dream, it's just a way, it's pointers, you see. It is not saying some truth. You see, it is not true that that which comes and goes is not real. Neither is it untrue. Neither is it, neither is it true. But that's what it said. You see, not only do I confuse all of you, I'm also fully confused about what.
Father, do you believe any of the things you say?
Of course not. And neither must you. Really. So I've said this very often, but I feel like I should repeat it in every satsang, which is that I am speaking pure nonsense. Really. But it's like acid. You use it to clean up the flow, but you don't build a temple to it. You see? So the words of satsang are just meant to neutralize whatever condition you may have. You see? They're not meant to construct a new version of truth. We don't need that. They're enough already. You see, we don't need another version of what is happening. It's actually all these versions which take us away from just the direct experience of what is. Okay, let's hear Kim. Poor thing has had his hand up for a long time, and then we come to Beatrice, and then Anders and Brown. Brown.
Hello, Ananta-ji.
Hello, my love.
I'm very, very confused and amazed by your words. And
Yes, confused is is we have a club, and I'm the president of that club, the
oh,
Confused Club.
I love this so much. I'm so happy I had my hand up from the very beginning because I don't think I would put it up now. But I'm happy to speak to you. I'm very, very grateful for your words and your being. And
What,
maybe I
what
can.
did you want to ask when you put your hand up, even though it's not there now? You don't remember? It's okay.
I I was since 2 or 3 days ago. I was in the first live satsang with you, and before I read your book and stuff. Not the whole book, but um,
Yeah.
I was trying to not remember something to say to you, because this is always what happened to me with Guruji Muchiji, that I
Yeah.
always for weeks and days I would always make a very solid rock words like this word, and then
Yeah.
when I talk, these words will
Yeah.
come out and it will be so dead, and afterwards I think, why only
Yeah.
this dead words have come.
Yeah.
And but this was very difficult because obviously I was talking to you
Yes.
in my head, and
Mhm.
now I don't know.
Yes. Very good. That's very good that you notice that tendency, you see, to sort of solidify our conceptual idea of what is. You see, try to put what is in this mold of conceptualizable narratives. I'm glad you recognize that. And now you say that just you wanted to come up empty and see what shows up. And that is very good. That is very good.
And can I still
Yes, yes,
not counterpart to what I said, but can I try
yes,
to
yes,
speak from whatever is for me now, and maybe you can see what is false about this?
yes, yes,
Because I do have this belief that at least not now and not when I listen to you, but that there is very basic false assumptions that I have about myself and the world.
yes.
And this is the so amazing and funny thing that when you talk your acid, your fun confusion, this is so
Yes.
clear that is so basic assumptions, like I cannot even dare to say how basic this is, like that I have a boundary. This is so, it is, I cannot say, yeah, everybody says, yeah, of course I am not everything. But
Yeah.
then if you say, I have to look, then I say, no, of course I am, I don't know. I, I cannot say I'm not everything. I cannot say I'm
I love this
something.
kind of thing. It's
I,
very nice. I enjoy hearing you very much. So you started by saying something very interesting. You said, I still have a belief, or there may be a belief here still that when I'm not in satsang, then I still must be buying into some false assumptions. But what if this belief itself is a false assumption? In
yes,
fact, what if belief itself meant false assumption? Because no truth can be captured in the mind. What is your life without conceptual knowledge? Are you lost? And this is for all of you. I'm provoking. You see? Are you lost? In this moment without conceptual knowledge, are you lost?
no,
Because this is the mind scare tactic, no? It will say you need this stuff because without these representations, you are completely lost. You won't know what to do. But this is not true. You see, your heart is still beating, your blood is still flowing, your breath is still happening, all your energetic functioning of the body mind is still happening very naturally. You see, no, it's only that you're not struggling, you're not suffering. Nothing worthwhile you have lost, only the painful stuff. That intelligence, which is taking care of that which we call my body, and also that which everything that is being perceived, you see, that intelligence is still operating very beautifully. So the fundamental premise of the mind that you need its representations to make sense of the world and therefore lead a better life is a premise worth questioning. Is it? The mind's representations are the like even worse than the Lego blocks representation of what is. You see something and then you want to make the Lego blocks just like that. You see, and then you say, "Oh, this is what I actually found," but it's not that. So don't try to understand right now. Don't understand anything, what anything means, mhm, and tell me what is wrong.
Ananta-ji, I feel, no, this would be a thought if I say something.
Okay, let's hear it anyway. Because,
Okay, the thought would be, it's wrong that there's even the possibility of this illusion of not getting it and of maybe failing this life, because I know that um, we are very much able to bear the suffering for very long because we also very much like it, or like the I don't know, like something about this disillusion thing.
when you say we, who are you talking about? The human condition? Is that
Uh,
what you mean?
yes, some memory
The human
or
condition.
some
Yes,
thought, yeah,
yes, yes.
thought of
So,
myself and what I assume of others. Oh,
yes,
yeah.
yeah. So, suppose that in the human condition, this condition is true. Suppose we come to satsang so that we are free from this, no?
Yes.
So, suppose it is true now, we leave it behind. The sages are nothing but, uh, in a way, role models who show you that it is possible to leave most of human conditioning behind and yet for day-to-day life to continue. You see, just because something is popular doesn't make it true. Just because everyone buys into an idea doesn't make it true. You can look up one of my favorite stories. I don't seem to have the energy to say it out loud right now, which is that the story of Plato's cave. Plato's cave.
I know this story and we don't
Yeah,
have to talk about it, but
it's fine. So,
I think this
so just
like
because everyone feels like their life is the shadow life which they see on the cave, you see, it doesn't make it true, isn't it? So the one who escapes sees that there is a much greater life than they imagined first.
and this much greater life,
Yes, is what
this
you mean when you're open and empty.
there's just no reason. My head says like this is too good, this is too courageous to accept it and stuff like this, but this is ridiculous. It should be just accepted and seen.
Just don't try to diagnose what your head is saying. Then what about the rest of you? Besides your head, what is the rest of you saying? Is the rest of you struggling with anything? How big is your head in relation to the rest of you? What makes its representations valid and the rest of your being is shining in such beautiful grace? Even it is, even the mind is. But but when we look at it from an overall perspective, you can see it's part of the same play. But when we are fixated on taking its version, it's like we have a naughty young cousin, maybe a 5-year-old or something, and now we have decided that this one is the voice of truth in our life. What do you think our life is going to be like? Even that is consciousness, even that is God. I'm not saying it isn't, but in consciousness, all aspects exist. And you take this troublesome little cousin who loves telling stories which are not true, and you give it all the truth value that it wants. What do you feel your life is going to be like? Is it? So that's why I'm saying this is because many times it can feel like, because we are relentlessly going after the false representations from the mind, it can feel like um, Ananta must hate the mind or something, but it's not like that. Is it? The mind is as much a part of the perceptual consciousness as anything else. Is it? But to take its version, its limited primitive ideas, to apply to me as my reality is silliness actually. As I keep asking these days, what are you not thinking right now? Why so much reliance on thought? You're just being. Mhm. You're just being. And being has never struggled, except in his thoughts. Okay, last one to provoke you is, who are you solving this for? Who is this freedom? If I could present freedom to you, who is that you who would take it? Can I see the unfree one, the one that is bound? Yeah, very good. You can turn this up a bit, make it a bit warmer. Good, 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 my dear. I feel you're doing very well. Very well. Very good, very good. Okay, then it
Thank you.
is. Thank you, my love. Thank you. You can go to Beatrice. She had her hand up, and then Anders and Bram.
Namaste, Father.
Namaste, my dear.
Well, so um, I tell you this thing, even if it's not
Even if it's not true,
true,
why would you do that to me?
because I feel that is consistently here.
Acha, okay, okay. That's good.
There is like I don't know what it is. It's like um, there is a feeling of identification with the thoughts, that these thoughts are me.
Acha.
But in other way, I see the thoughts of the person speaking in the first uh, person,
So when you say,
and
pause for a moment,
my sorry.
let's really look. Now, you say that something is persistently there, and it has to do with my identification with some thoughts and taking myself to be a person. No? So now, yesterday, how many moments were you identified?
I don't know.
Exactly. So how do we know that this is persistently here?
um, I don't know.
So that is very good. So I don't know is a beautiful open space. You see? So here we cannot say yesterday whole day I was unidentified, nor can we say we were fully identified because we will only remember some 10, 15 moments from yesterday. You see? So we
Mm.
cannot say something so authoritatively saying I'm always identifying or something like this. No? So we don't know. You know? I don't know either way.
Yeah, I there is, but it is like
Something changed, my dear, in your setting where some noise is coming now.
now.
Is it your, now it's better, a bit better. Yeah.
Yes.
Again, it's starting.
mm, I see the also all this person and all the body is perceived.
Okay, wait. So
So
before
so
we go there,
so there is a question like
no,
all
but
this.
no, but before now, what problem are we solving?
The believing that the world is true.
You believe it right now?
I don't know. No.
Exactly. The way to suffer, the way to suffer is to solve non-existent problems.
Yes, yes, I see that this is not true, but
Yeah.
I feel like I have to tell to you just to.
Just just to say hello. What other reason could there be to once you recognize that it's not true, then it's just for communication and conversation. No?
Mm,
Are you saying that I see really that it's not true, but mostly I feel it is true? Is it like that?
yes, I see. It's like I see that is correct. That all is perceived, and there is a questioning of this reality, like who say to me that this is real, you
I see.
know,
Okay.
they were
Okay. So
that this thing still happen, pardon, still happen, even if I see that is not real. It's like when Mujiji say the tail of the serpent.
yes.
Yes.
So I want to flip it a bit. No. So I've said a few times that the idea of the unreality of the world is just another idea. It is a thought experiment which has been proposed by sages to get us to look beyond that which is perceived. You see? Now the thing is that in our mental models, even that which is perceived is not accurately depicted.
Mm,
So can you tell
yes.
me uh, everything that you perceive right now, like truly,
Mm,
what is here now, even perceptually?
perceptually, the world, the sound, the light,
No, but
the question.
this is broad. No, if somebody hears world sound, they don't make out. You have to recreate your perception in this moment, in in thought. Can you do it? Everything in your perception, every light, every sound, every shade of color, every shape
Mm,
of shadow. Can you do it?
Uh, no, because all is changing and I don't have, I cannot write so fast.
Even if it was not changing, suppose it was on pause. You see, the world was on pause. Even then, if I gave you a million words, you could not capture everything that you're perceiving, even in one room. Nobody can do it. The mind is just not capable of processing one moment of all the perception that we have. You see, and yet it likes to make stories about our life. Not one moment it can handle, and yet it will say, "Oh, past few weeks, this is what's happened to me," or "My entire life has been like this." You see, all of these ideas, but it cannot do it.
Just imagine.
Yes, and it takes these very photocopy version of what you are experiencing, and we end up living as if our life is that photocopy version, very insipid and dry, and you see,
Yeah.
it is not like that. The thing is that what is, even what is manifest, we cannot include in any story, in any narrative.
Yes. There is another question,
Yeah.
like, so even uh, all these happenings of thoughts and feeling of identification, etc., etc. Uh, it's like it's not me. So o sea, I don't know if it's a question, but it's like why take personally? It's just happen. It's not what I am. No,
Okay. So
the
the
body, the thoughts.
notion of not me, the notion of happening, and the notion of world, just forget about all of them. Don't create any shape to anything, whether me or not me, whether happening or action, whether with volition or empty of agency. All of these ideas, just keep them aside. Now the only screaming voice will be, but what about me? What about me in this? Nothing about you. It is the need to include this in our story, but you don't include anything. Don't include. Let the autobiography stop. Very good. Very good. Very good. 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 Huh? No, not good. 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 Okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you, Mandy. Yeah, thank you so much. Okay, we can go to Anders and Brahm. Brahm, how can you help me with the? I pronounced it five different ways so far. Namaste.
Namaste.
So good. So good.
So
So
good.
beautiful. So beautiful looking at both of you. Very good. Very good.
Thank you, thank you.
So welcome, my dear. So welcome.
Thank you so much.
Did you want to report something when you raised your hand, or it was just spontaneous?
Yes, just hand was raised, and just this immense love, you know.
Very good.
And somehow, you and Guruji, Muji Baba, appeared in my dream last night, and just I don't know, just this whole day is just so just feel you so much, and just so carried by this love, and by the sangha. And
Oh, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Oh, so good. I'm very happy to meet you both like this, and in the dream, and in the dream. In both dreams, let's just put it that way.
Yes,
All my love, all my blessings.
love you, love you.
Love you, love you, love
Thank
you.
you so
Thank
much.
you.
My dears, thank you. Such a joy, such a joy. Thank you. Very good. Thank you, my dear. Okay, so one question I've been getting in the chat for the last few weeks, but I've not been reading because I just keep missing the chat these days, is this one. It says, Dear Father, I wanted to check with you on something for a while. My restlessness has been driving me to move from a comfort zone type of environment to a more challenging environment on the work and personal front. But then I seem to regret it. It has been going along with I have been going along with this movement. But the question is, if this restlessness that seems like a driving force is the mind forcing me into something I should not get into, or is it consciousness doing what is best? And the regret part is just the mind. What is the best way to deal with such restless energy? Ignore it and stay where I am, or to go with it? And do I really have a choice? Please rid me of this question. Okay, very good, very good. Okay, so this narrative has these constructs, you see, and till we don't reject the constructs, you see, till then we are not free from the narrative, you see, and it is only the narrative which causes the suffering. So you ask a question, so what is the best way to deal with this? You see? If you take yourself to be a body mind, then take everything being done by consciousness and being experienced by consciousness. Tvam karta, tvam bhokta, which means you, Lord, are the one doer and the one experiencer. And as long as you take yourself to be the central protagonist of this narrative, then that is the advice for you. You see? It is consciousness doing what is best, and everything is grace. Once you see that you are not anyone that is stuck in this story, that has this uh, that has this flow as this story seems to define, once you see that you are just the pure witnessing principle to which nothing has ever happened, but in the light of which the entire universe comes and goes, then you will see that this will automatically not apply to you anyway. You see? So if you feel like it is too much, then and you feel like, but really, let's, like, I hear this many times, no? Let's get real. Finally, I'm a human. You see? So so if that is the idea that ultimately spirituality is something that human beings use to make their life better, you see, then in that narrative, the only way to make your life better is to leave all doership and experiencership, surrender it to the divinity, whatever aspect of divinity that attracts you, to surrender it. You see, if there is a longing, if there's a yearning in your heart that to go beyond this idea of the human condition, the idea of being a body mind, you see, then you see yourself to be this pure awareness, which remains untouched in this entire play, you see, which is happening on the screen of your consciousness, but you are not touched by it in any way, then you will not be so affected by the ups and downs in life, by these changes in life, you see. So, depending on your representation, the answer could change. My final advice is that leave all representations. Don't represent yourself either this way or that way. Don't know what to do. Don't know what not to do. Don't either plan or become spontaneous. Just remain open and empty. You see? And possibly we've spoken about this before. Don't do any spiritual diagnosis or don't do any diagnosis of any sort. Don't know what is better or worse. Don't know what is good or bad for you. Just leave it. Okay. Okay. Since I'm looking at the chat, there's one more. So the question is, so it's okay to be purposeless in today's world, where everybody around runs behind one purpose apparently, and just be the true awareness that we are. Okay. So no, no. That no may come as a surprise to most of you, but what I'm saying is, neither be purposeful nor be purposeless. Just be empty. You see? Now, what can happen is, because I hear this quite often, because when I'm saying don't make meaning, then we make a new meaning, which means that everything is meaningless. You see? When I say don't make purpose, then we can feel like the meaning of it is that he's saying be purposeless. No, but even purposeless is a position. You see, it is too limiting for your reality. To be purposeful is too limiting, to be purposeless is too limiting. Just be empty of both. Just like I was saying just now, like many times in spirituality, what happens is that we say, oh, planning happens with the mind. So now I'm going to drop all plans and only be spontaneous. You see? Now, I have never heard a more rigid plan than that. You see? But I realize most of us don't hear it that way. You see? I will only be spontaneous is a very rigid plan. You see? In the same way, to be purposeful and purposeless is still two sides of the same coin, and the central character in both of those positions is not what you really are. Who is to be purposeless or purposeful? That one doesn't exist, you see. You see? So, and the same thing with doership also. Like in this new age kind of sharing, no? Many times we move from the position of doership into a non-doership position. But I'm not the doer, you see. But who is that which is not the doer? Who are you that is not the doer? So neither doership nor non-doership, neither purposeful nor purposeless, neither planning nor spontaneity, just fully empty. Not that empty which is the opposite, which is full. Empty of both full and empty. If it is an opposite, if you're taking a position, I'll give you a tip which is broad, okay, which all of you can use. If you take a position and you can think of its opposite, just drop it. So if you're feeling like I'm being very spontaneous, you see, and as you can think of the opposite of that, which is I could plan, and then decide thing. You see, it's then that spontaneous is still a position. Drop it. You see, like you're being completely non-doing. No, I'm just not doing. You see, I'm not the doer. I'm not doing, and you can think of its opposite, which would be to do. You see, doership. Then drop your non-doership also. You see, the mind will get frustrated because this neutrality it does not understand. The intellect is like a pendulum, no, likes to go this way or that way. Neutrality it doesn't get. You see, so what am I saying? Just notionless, positionless, empty of empty also. Don't judge yourself in these limiting ways. You see, you are much beyond these kind of definitions. You see? So neither you are what this report is sharing about you, nor is everybody else what you are sharing about them. You see, all these are just fictional ideas in our mind. You see? The mind is forcing you, compelling you to come to a conclusion of how you must be. You see, how you must exist. But existence doesn't need that help. It doesn't need definition of how to be. How is your being happening right now? How are you being? It just is, no? So this light of being doesn't need assistance saying, this is how I must be, purposeful or purposeless, doer or non-doer, is it? Meaningful or meaningless, driven or empty of ambition. Doesn't need any of this. Either way. Even spiritual or not spiritual, forget about it. If you're being spiritual, you're not being spiritual. If you can be spiritual, you're not being spiritual. Just forget about it. Thank you. That was a useful question, my dear. And I know the expression came out a bit strong. It was not. It was just because all of us can have these ideas which are in the opposites, and we feel like one end of the opposites will be better than the other end. You see, but it's not like that. Just leave both empty-handed. Empty-handed. Very good. Very good. Okay, Madalena has been waiting. Madam can come.
Thank you.
Welcome, my dear.
Um, I know there is a tendency when I put my hand up and when I meet you,
Yeah.
uh, When I meet you in the heart, and then mind clings to that idea. Ah, you had the question, so you better ask that. And I noted that in the past as well. So this is why I kind of kept my hand with myself, because I thought anyway what I'm expressing is of the mind.
Yes, but see, this is what I was talking about. Neither up nor down. You see,
Yeah.
then the mind cannot understand. Then what? You see, but your heart can. Like the mind will get very confused. So, in satsang, when you come, neither put your hand up nor keep it down. You see, the mind says, "Oh, how to attend this thing?" No. You see, so but don't pick either position.
Yeah. Hmm.
Because in either way, you are taking yourself to be that which you're not. There is no right way to be. Being itself is right.
How to be.
How are you being?
How to be.
How are you being? Damn. How are you amming right now? How are you keeping the am up?
How am I keeping what?
The am up. How are you amming? I
Oh,
am.
how am I aiming? uh,
Before we can determine something after that, how something after that, no? First, we must determine this.
this was the confusion at the beginning of the satsang, because you asked
Yes.
us if we ever had the realization or the awareness that we are. And then I thought, why are you asking about past moment?
All the spiritual pointings come up very clearly then. When I ask so to look, then it's like, but who is here to do? I say, can we just do the inquiry? I am not the doer. All the spiritual knowledge is at the forefront. You see, and then when life is slapping us about, it's all forgotten.
Oh, uh, in my actions, and also like I feel there is a sense of separation between me and you and the others and everything that is.
But the sense is not really a sense, it is just an idea of separation. Like separation is not a sense, it is only an idea.
There is also in my actions, so not during the satsang when the space is pure and your acid is strong. When we are outside the satsang, I act with an invested interest in comfort, security, children's safety, and happiness.
Yeah,
So
yeah. That's good, that's fine. In
I
satsang,
know
you
I want this freedom to extend outside the satsang.
the one that wants is not real.
Oh,
Before we come into satsang, if somebody says you can be fully free for 1 minute in your life, you can have the darshan of the absolute reality and you can experience this freedom for just 1 minute.
oops. I can't hear you and I can't see you. I don't know if you can hear me. Huh? Oh.
Okay.
We can hear you now.
Back now? Good, good, good.
Thank
So I was saying that it sounds like a very good deal, no? To be in the company of the absolute, or can't really be in the company, but you know what I mean. For even a moment, is a great gift in life. No?
you. Yes, it is.
Yes, but
But
the greatest gift you can give for any apparent future Madalena is to be completely empty right now. It's such a beautiful gift that we have given to ourselves. No? Such a beautiful gift. How many in the world can say, I have these moments every week or every day where I'm just so free, open, and empty? The one that wants will keep pushing for more and more and more. No? The stomach of this one is never full. So I had one time one sweet child, he used to come to me, and so he said to me, Father, this waking state you've taken care of. Now I want to be just as free in my dream state also. So, so I said to him, then the dream Ananta will come and take care of that. But what does it represent? We just feel like I just, oh, waking state is done. But what about? But how many can say waking state is done? It's pristine, pristine insight. You see, which is supposed to be so rare in the human condition, so rare. You see, all of us are being pointed to it, and we are recognizing. So beautiful to see so many recognizing that unperceivable reality. So don't fall for the mind's trick of more, more, more. And one thing is that don't measure your spiritual progress. Don't measure yourself in terms of tendencies and what has to change and how far you've come and how far to go. Just leave all of that. No judgment. No judgment. Naturally, in life, you're going about being a mother, doing your job as a mother very well. What's the problem? There's no trouble. You're trying to provide security for your family. Nothing is wrong with that. Life is unfolding. Don't judge yourself either way. Allow me to judge and say you're being a good mom. You see, all those are not they don't apply to your ultimate reality, but in your expression as an aspect of consciousness, it's fine. But I know that when you start to judge, you will say, "But I should be more free like this. I should not be like." Just leave all of that. Let all of that be my problem if you can.
I am putting my attachment at your feet. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Can I ask one question?
Yeah.
Guruji invited us to into his heart for the 1 month
Yeah.
silent retreat he's doing.
Yes.
Um, and I was wondering how to do that
Yeah.
with the
So
normal life I have.
yes, how when you find a moment to yourself, just be silent. Just be silent without stressing yourself out about being silent. All things are perfectly resolved in the unborn. So, as much by the same power, the same Master's grace who's invited us into this is also going to unfold it in our lives.
Amen. Thank you.
Very good, very good. Okay, Jason can come.
Namaste.
Sorry, Mehdi, just before you start, because we disconnected from the Zoom, I've lost all the chat. So if there's something strong and you'd like me to read it, you could cut and paste it from your chat history if you can.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
Can you? I want to ask you if you can help me with something, and it's connected with this retreat thing because
Yeah.
something that was very much with me in the early years when I started with spirituality, like thing with like earnestness.
Yeah.
Um, so when I heard about this retreat, like immediately something takes shape in me. Like I feel I have to be earnest on change something like my behavior or so, and doesn't feel right. Like I feel I cannot be spontaneous anymore. It's
Well, okay. So don't
things
allow your
very
mind.
something
don't allow,
like more realistic about it. So
yeah, it's just simpler than that. You see, just simpler than that. Something seems to make things very serious and difficult, you see. And they asked me to talk about this topic. I was saying one day when we were not in the broadcast, so I was saying that, when we start to take ourselves a bit seriously, just soften it up a bit. Just soften it up a bit. You see, just lighten. It's not that serious. It's not that bad. And then when you soften it up a bit, you see, then soften it up a bit more. You can understand this meaning of soften it up. Like,
Yes.
am I not going to be spontaneous? Do I have to force myself into silence now? But what is better? What is worse? Just leave all that. It's okay. Don't worry. You see, if the feeling is there to be silent, just be silent. If it is strongly in your heart, no, no, this is not going to happen because my life has all of these complexities, leave it. It's okay. It's okay. Don't. You're thinking about it so oppressively is much worse than whether you do the few days in silence or not. In fact, that is the better silence. So don't insert this advice, the master's advice, into any narrative, into any history, into any baggage, nothing. And allow it to unfold naturally if it has to. You don't have to derive like big meaning out of everything that comes our way. What does this mean for me? Okay? Again, I'm not chopping or anything. I'm just pointing out the nature of the mind. I'm pointing out the nature of the mind. It is taken some very simple pointing. Guruji felt to be in silence. In fact, we spoke just a couple of days ago, and he told me about the announcement that was coming, and he just said he just felt to be in silence, for a few days, and just from his heart, he wanted to invite whoever feels in the sangha to join him in this way. So it's not not a it's not a compulsion, or it doesn't. We don't have to make big meaning about it for ourselves. If you feel invited in your heart just to follow, maybe a day, maybe a minute, maybe a second, it doesn't matter. You see, so it's all fine, mate. But don't make it like something that you can put in your story in any way.
Thank you.
I hope that was helpful. Maybe it sounded a bit strong, but it is meant to be helpful always, mate.
No.
What does it mean to allow everything to unfold? It just means that we don't have to determine what anything means. You see, it's otherwise what allowing is there. It's going to unfold anyway. There's no power we have to, as what we take ourselves to be, to try and stop anything from unfolding. So when we say allow everything to unfold, it's like you don't bother with trying to decipher it, what this really means, what's my representation about this. Just leave it. It's fine. It's fine. Good, my dear.
Thank you. Yes.
Very good. Very good. Hope we've been able to dislodge that thorn. No? That thorn, we've been able to pluck it out and throw it away. Very good. Very good. Very good. Thank you. Thank you. Very good. I see in the chat that quite a few have this kind of question. Okay, Ananta, your talk of the opposites and dropping them both. I came to realize I had expected the whole spirituality thing to be hard and arduous. Yes, it's a very popular representation. And maybe that is what I secretly wanted, for it is a big achievement or anything of the kind. Yes, it can be because we did something really hard as an achievement, or many actually, look at it as penance or to get over their guilt, or there can be many, like many attractive things about doing something hard and arduous. Actually, but spirituality is not that. It can feel that from time to time, but at its core is just the most effortless, simple. Very good, very good. Okay, one says, Father, I just want to offer that from the Spanish Sangha, we are offering contemplative spaces every day from morning and evening. I see, very good. In case anyone wants to join. Thank you. Very good. Very good. Spanish Sangha is doing it, and if there's a link or some more information, you can post that as well. Okay, some more chat today, and then we end. Then no more hands, I see. Good. In crucial moments, the next one says, in crucial moments, I just lose and completely engrossed in personhood. How to deal with this? See, when we are completely engrossed, we are completely engrossed. Forget about it. Don't try to fix that. What about the times that you're not completely engrossed? In those times, be open and empty. You see, then the other times will take care. Then this will take care of the other times also. But if you take those moments where you're completely engrossed and pull them into the moments when you're not completely engrossed, you see, that's like spoiling today's breakfast for what is coming for lunch tomorrow, or something like that. You see? So don't try to fix that. You're open and empty now, enjoy it. God is here. Enjoy the presence of God in your own heart. You see, your own presence is pure divinity. Fresh God, as I call it. No, fresh God is here. Why worry about future and past? It's good. Then you say, please bless me with unidentification. Yes, my dear, all my blessings. I am going through a very bad phase. Sometimes it's just destroy all the work, and it feels like I am again at the starting point. Starting point is very good. And you may not understand what I'm saying, but in Zen, there's this whole idea of the beginner mind. You see. Advanced seekers are the most difficult to deal with, okay? The beginner mind is what I crave in satsang. You see. If you already know too much, if you had so much experience and all of that, then I cannot get through to you. If you return to the starting point, what I'm pointing is very simple. Just stay like that with the innocence of a child. Don't worry, I read your question on survival and things. Don't worry. Being is taking care of being. All that you need will take care of itself. It will show up on its own. Don't worry about that. But you remain in the unborn, in the beginner mind. It's good. Thank you so much, Anantaji, for bringing this clarity, real meaning of Guruji silence. Such a joy, such a blessing. I love you so much. Love you too, my dear. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Very good. Very good. Okay, some more hands. One hand has come. Okay, last one for the day. And it is Amrita. Hello, my dear. Not hearing you so well. Is it louder, my dear?
I can hear you clearly. Can you hear
Yes,
me well?
yes. It's fine now. Yes. Yes. What are you still doing there? Isn't it?
Call me, please.
Come, come through the screen.
I know. I wish I could. I would have just jumped in right there now. But with you, everything is so. I mean, it just disappears. If
Yeah.
whatever the mind stuff.
Yeah.
And
Also the
like,
big song.
so, and today it's uh, it was the mind thoughts are so sticky. Like today, it's something is seen and yet it is believed.
Something is seen, but yet the opposite of it is believed.
Yeah, I mean, the happening is opposite, and it's seen clearly that and something is not okay about it. Like when you say, okay, just leave it, it becomes unbearable also at times. Like it feels like it should go away. When you and your words kind of ring into the ears, like, okay, this is also okay. Let it be. Like whatever, let it happen. Whatever is happening. But that itch, or I don't know what call that, is so strong that it
So how
there is
does
one.
let's do one experiment. I'm getting the echo, but it's okay. At the end of this conversation, what do you feel is going to happen?
I am going to hands down say yes, Father. Everything is yours.
So why don't we start there?
I know, but that's something.
What is it? It's all gone anyway. You have to think about
Yeah,
it
no,
too.
of course, in your presence, it just vanishes. And if I hear you, or if I'm just reporting it to you, also, it is just in reporting only, it is gone.
You know, it's last few weeks I've heard this being said as bad news.
Bad news?
That
No,
in your presence, it just goes away, as if it's a grievance.
no, no.
It's like a grievance. New sun. In the presence of Ananta, we can't hold any of our mental concerns.
No. Oh God. Yes. Thank you, Father.
Father, you are in new avatar today.
Yes. This is my old avatar.
Nah, this is old.
New for me, but it's decent, very good.
Nah,
Okay,
thank
Father,
you.
fine. It's all yours.
It's just a shaving accident, my dear. I was going to trim it very slightly, and then I noticed that I had trimmed this whole part fully. Then I contemplated having a bit of a French goatee and thing. Then I felt like, okay, let's just leave it.
Father, thank you so much. Okay, I will not say. I'll not even report now, I think.
No, but is this like not a repressing? No?
No,
It,
it's not repressing. I don't repress. I vomit in front of you. In fact, this month, in the morning itself, I had this strong thought like I don't want to be connected with anybody. I just want to be in silence, like just disconnect.
yeah.
And then I saw this mail, Guruji's mail of this awakening. It just felt so. I just exited from all kinds of groups on WhatsApp and Facebook, and just going to follow to the T whatever instruction has just come in,
Yeah.
and just whatever work required and nothing.
Yeah.
It's just come so.
I'm going to hear your sister's
On
report about this.
Yeah, she will though. With her though, it's full firing since morning, from morning 9 o'clock until now. It's like open fire. But I know, I mean, I here just felt it was seen that where I'm falling short, or I am not doing enough, something like that, or I need to be more. I need to step up my work thing. But I gave up also. I said, okay, this much only I can do. I cannot handle and think about so much of death, and then thought, and then this whatever, and then work, and then on small things. That's too much on my head. That's okay. I can only do this much, and then rest I can't. So
What are you going to call this character that you've been calling I for so long?
I know.
Let's give it a name. In
You
one
want to give
satsang,
a name?
were you there in that retreat where we called Kajan?
No.
You know, none of you were there. The whole sangha is changed.
Yeah, but then who's that I also doing, no, Father, something like when somebody is like telling me constantly, okay, you are not doing this, or you're not doing enough, or whatever, you're not
Telling who
or you're careless.
what should we call this me?
Yeah, so what is this? Which is this me? Like,
Yeah.
it's a person only, as a whatever that avatar,
Avatar.
bundle of things. No, Father, it's all your problem. I just give it up all to you.
Don't
Good,
look so
bad,
troubled.
What trouble? Yeah, I'm troubled also a little bit, but in my heart, I just know that it's just fine. Everything is just fine.
It's just like I'm just making jokes. Okay? Oh, Father, it's all your. I know you're going to mess it. I tried for it not to become your problem, but now I think I'll have to make it your problem.
Just one of those days.
You're fine. I'm just trying to make my child laugh. Okay? And usually it has the opposite effect.
It's very imbibed, and maybe in mind also, when like when you say anything can show up, anything can come, and here anything can happen. But that sometimes it that anything or nothing can happen, like either or, like you don't even leave that. I mean, sometimes that mind wants to hook onto that one thing and one whatever, but like here's something knows it's not available, not there, not there. And then there's little cribbing and little crying and everything happens, and then it's fine, it's okay. This is how it is.
That we can never say, you know. Like we can never determine what this is. You see, so if you can just mute for a moment, my dear. There's too much echo coming, but You can speak in a moment. I just want to share something about this. So I'm saying that many times it can feel like spirituality is saying that our interpretation that this is what something is, it's okay because that's just how it is. But really, what I'm pointing to is that we can never determine the nature of anything. We don't know what is good, what is bad. We don't know what is good for us, bad for us. We don't even know what that us is. So it is not that we can make conclusions and then say it's okay for the world, for regular spirituality is fine. But what I'm pointing to is to tell you that whatever conclusions the mind may be making about what is, you see, is uh, is a very very insipid representation of what actually is, and it is in these representations that we are missing the presence of God, apparently. You see? Yeah. Like because we are able to say, oh, this is like this, but it's okay. You see, Master's grace will take care of it. You see, but it's still attached to our idea of what is happening. But we can never say. We did this when you were here, no? The Kanpur Sangha was here as well. He said, what is this? Or what is happening? Can we really ever say? Our mind is not big enough to be able to encapsulate it. You see? So it takes these very small circumstantial evidence and say, ah, this is what this means. And all of you can have the same incident or event and have a different representation. Like this satsang is one example. One could say, oh, Ananta was full on today, such a good satsang. Another could say, today I was very sleepy. I felt like it was very boring. No? But what is it actually? You can never determine it. So So don't look at life or anything happening in life through the lens of the mind. You see, because to come to some sort of a reconciliation from there is okay. It's fine. Like it's a baby step type of thing. But I'm talking about a quantum leap where you're just not making any representations of it. Just leave it all concepts, all conceptualization. Just forget about it. You can say something if you want. I'm not eating much.
But you just said it all. Like everything is coming from so much out of lens that in and there's already so much of boundary around or framework around where in the spirituality also it plays around that in in that boundary and it should and shouldn't and past and present.
So for few days, don't understand what a squirrel doesn't understand. That is the spiritual sadhana for you.
Yes, Tatu. Otherwise, it's always from something to other thing.
Acha,
So nothing.
squirrel understand this?
No. I don't know how to be then.
So being doesn't have a how.
Actually, literally, I want to follow when you say don't understand what a squirrel understands.
Don't, what?
I know. Okay, I said the other way around. Already the mind
That
is.
you cannot understand actually.
Yeah.
I'm saying don't try to understand something that people would not understand.
Yes.
I think you're trying to understand it. The other thinker pose happening. Rodan.
Automatically, wiring is like that.
Acha, now blaming consciousness. I'm just messing with you either way. You come to Bangalore.
I know. I need to. How the work will happen then? How will I
As it
understand?
is, you're planning to be in silence.
But only work can happen, no? That's what Guruji said.
Acha. It's fine. It's fine.
But other distractions like WhatsApp was a big distraction. Right?
Yes.
Other social media and unnecessary phone calls.
Don't understand what a squirrel doesn't understand.
Yes. I don't know.
That's very good.
Okay, Father. Thank you.
Love you, my child. Thank you. One says, Father, when you say don't understand anything, it means making no orange juice. Yes, exactly what it means. Some of you may not have heard this orange juice metaphor. No? So I feel like it went like this. So I said one day that these thoughts are like oranges. No, just let them come and go. Don't try to squeeze orange juice. And it's really like this when you're like really trying to solve something, non-existent problems and things like that. Go ahead, get those. How do you get those? Like not so easy for me to get those. So it's like really a squeezing, no? A squeezing. I can tell you're being very mindy about something. So that's why I said, don't make orange juice. Don't make orange juice. That's all. Next one says, is awareness the last ground to let go? If it is a concept, of course. First, let it go first. If it is a concept. Okay, very good, very good, very good. Let's play a bhajan. Thank you all. I really felt like I enjoyed a lot today. Thank you.
सगुण म्हणू की निर्गुण रे तुझ सगुण म्हणू की निर्गुण रे सगुण निर्गुण एको गोविंदो रे एको गोविंदो रे सगुण निर्गुण एको गोविंदो रे एको गोविंदो रे तुझ सगुण म्हणू की निर्गुण रे तुझ सगुण म्हणू की निर्गुण रे हनुमानेना 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 श्रुतीने नेती म्हणती गोविंदो रे श्रुतीने नेती म्हणती गोविंदो रे तुझ सगुण म्हणू की निर्गुण रे तुझ सगुण म्हणू की निर्गुण रे तुझ दृश्य म्हणू की अदृश्य रे तुझ दृश्य म्हणू की अदृश्य रे दृश्य दृश्य एको गोविंदो रे दृश्य दृश्य एको गोविंदो रे तुझ सगुण म्हणू की निर्गुण रे तुझ सगुण म्हणू की निर्गुण रे तुझ आकारू म्हणू की निराकारू रे तुझ आकारू म्हणू की निराकारू रे आकारू निराकारू एको गोविंदो रे आकारो निराकारो एको गोविंदो रे तुझ सगुण म्हणू की निर्गुण रे तुझ सगुण म्हणू की निर्गुण रे तुझ स्थूळ म्हणू की सूक्ष्म रे तुझ स्थूळ म्हणू की सूक्ष्म रे स्थूळ सूक्ष्म एको गोविंदो रे स्थूळ सूक्ष्म एको गोविंदो रे तुझ सगुण म्हणू की निर्गुण रे तुझ सगुण म्हणू की निर्गुण रे निवृत्ती प्रसादे ज्ञानदेव बोले निवृत्ती प्रसादे ज्ञानदेव बोले बाप रकुमदेवी वरू विठ्ठलू रे निवृत्ती प्रसादे ज्ञानदेव बोले बाप रकुमदेवी वरू विठ्ठलू रे तुझ सगुण म्हणू की निर्गुण रे तुझ सगुण म्हणू की निर्गुण रे सगुण निर्गुण एको गोविंदो रे एको गोविंदो रे सगुण निर्गुण एको गोविंदो रे एको गोविंदो रे तुझ सगुण म्हणू की निर्गुण रे तुझ सगुण म्हणू की निर्गुण रे
Welcome to the postgraduate program in Artificial Intelligence and Machine Learning offered by the University.
Just an ad.
Govinda Radhe Gopala Radhe Shri Giridhari Govinda 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 Radhe 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 Boy Radhe 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 Radhe
Radhe Radhe
Radhe Radhe
Radhe Radhe
Radhe
Radhe
Radhe Radhe
Radhe
Radhe
Radhe Boy
Oh
Radhe
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 Oh Radhe
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 Radhe Radhe
Oh Radhe Radhe
Govinda Radhe Oh Radhe
Vivekananda Govinda
Nanda
Govinda Radhe
Radhe Ho
Radhe
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 Radhe Ho
Radhe Radhe
Radhe Radhe Ho Radhe 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 Ho Radhe 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 Ho Radhe 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 Ho Radhe
Govinda Radhe Gopala Radhe Govinda Radhe Gopala Radhe Govinda Radhe Gopala Radhe Radhe
Radhe Radhe Ho Radhe 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 Ho Radhe 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 Ho Radhe 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 Ho Radhe 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 Ho Radhe 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 Ho Radhe 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 Ho Radhe 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 Ho Radhe Ho Radhe Ho
Radhe
Okay,
No, Colin, Colin, आ जाओ। ले आओ, ले आओ भैया। उधर बाहर आ गया, उधर जाओ। देखो उधर कहीं होगा। उधर से ही आ अब इधर से ऐसे जाओगे तो आ जाएगा। ये प्रेशर पंप
This is just a tiny representation of something like this when you're open and empty, full of joy, full of joy. But if you get your mind involved, it's just like, what is this? It is chaos. Why? You see? So live your life like this. Just open, empty, no judgment. Allow everything to flow. You don't have to understand. You don't have to make patterns, and everything does not have to conform to our idea of what is right and what is wrong. Flow with life like this in the same spirit. All is good. Love you too. Love you all. Thank you all so much for being in Satsang today. Sadhguru Sri Muji Baba ki Jai. Guru Kripa Kevalam.